universe? His name is Jesus. He's an architect, a master builder. And you and I, our bodies, I'm a medical doctor, and let me tell you, our bodies are miracles. They're designed according to our DNA, our desoxyribonucleic acid, and they are miracles of design. Fantastic design. And you have eye cells and lung cells and heart cells and hearing cells, and they're all specialist cells, you see. And Jesus designed all that. That's right, isn't it? Jesus designed all of that. But when he came to earth, he didn't come just to make tables and chairs. He was a tekton, which, if you look it up in the Greek, it's a builder. And when Joseph came back from Egypt, he went to Nazareth and he started up a building company. It was Joseph and Son. So let's look at Jesus. Now, we know that Mary and Joseph took Jesus to the temple when he was 12 years old, right? And then we don't hear much about Jesus till he was 30 when he started his ministry. That's right, isn't it? What we do know is that Joseph died, and Jesus was the eldest of, he had 4 brothers, right? We even know their names. Yeah. I can't remember all the names now, but James and Joseph were 2 of them. I can't remember all the other ones, but there were 4 brothers and sisters, at least 2 sisters. So Jesus inherited a family home. People say he didn't have a home. Well, he did have a home. He inherited the family home, right? Okay. And he inherited Joseph and Son. That's the master builder of Nazareth. And I bet that was the best building business in the whole of Israel.
Wow.
Well, why wouldn't it be? This is God's son. Why wouldn't he? Look, it says in Deuteronomy 28, verse 1, if you will diligently listen and obey the Lord your God, all these things will prosper, will follow you. You will be blessed as you come in, blessed as you go out, blessed in the town, blessed in the country, blessed in everything you'll do. Well, do you think Jesus listened to his father and obeyed? Well, I think he did. So that would apply to him. So he had the best building business in Israel. That's what I think, anyway.
Wonderful.
So he was a master builder. And he didn't stop. By the way, he never stopped being a master builder. He didn't abandon his business. And the same way as when he called the fishermen, they left their nets with their father Zebedee. They didn't stop fishing. By the way, you see, Jesus demonstrated twice. Jesus is very good at fishing himself. He called all those fish to come into the nets. And by the way, the disciples became really wealthy after following Jesus. We know that.
Wow. Now tell me, you were talking about Jesus, like roughly carrying around the sort of money we're talking in terms of today, about 160,000 pounds.
Yeah.
So at that time, did he sell his messages or the miracles or charge for admission to his programs or events? No. But I'm asking this because a lot of these happen today in this kingdom. Is it wrong to do those things? Even, that's if Jesus did not do it.
It's not wrong. It's not wrong, but I don't think Jesus didn't do it. Jesus never sold anything, did he? He didn't, there was no record of him ever selling anything. He didn't have a love offering after his miracles, did he? Yeah. He didn't raise Lazarus from the dead and then say, well, that was a really good miracle, let's have a love offering, did he? In fact, he turned down the best opportunity for cash ever, because the rich young ruler came to see him in Matthew 19. Here's the guy who was absolutely loaded with cash. And you know what a lot of ministers would do say? Well, I know somebody you can give that money to, you can give it to me. But Jesus didn't do that. He said, no, give it to the poor.
Wow.
Give it to the poor.
Now tell me, so where should Christians give their money? What sort of organization or ministry should they actually support? Because there are so many out there. People are confused.
Yeah.
Some have, there's so many things happening in the minds of the people. So from your personal understanding and teaching, so where should we give, who should we give money to?
Well, there isn't a simple answer to that, because everyone must give as he has decided. So I suggest people just simply pray and ask the Lord to show them what they should give their money to. That's what they should do. But in broad terms, the first thing to give is evangelism. That's the first thing to do, because evangelism is expensive. Now, I mean, we've been to 27 countries, but on average, we've been to many of them many times, like, Pakistan, States, the Caribbean, South Africa, Eastern Europe, India, Pakistan, Philippines, all over the place. On average, it costs about £3,000 a shot each time we go, because we pay for all the airfares and the taxi fares and the accommodation and everything. It costs about £3,000 a time. But we pay for all of that.
You mean the local churches where you go and don't give you...
No, we give them.
Wow.
No, we give them money. We go to support the churches. And when we go to support the churches, we give them all the DVDs and the projectors to show them. In Pakistan, they're going around, all around Pakistan, showing our movies, which are evangelistic movies. In the Philippines, we give them not just me, but the church I'm involved with, we give them jeeps to go around with, and they give them computers for the prisoners, and we give them all sorts of stuff, medical equipment.
This is interesting. But then, I was in Africa for over 10 years, doing some work on the ground there.
Sure.
I see some so-called men of God come from Europe, come from America, and they tell the locals there who have nothing, I say, listen, you got to give something so that God can use your giving to prosper you. And they collect, good money from the locals. Yeah. Is that a way to go?
Well, I'm not going to comment on that, I'll tell you there's a better way. There's a much better
I like your style, a better way.
There's a better way. The better way.
So what's the better way? Tell us.
The better way is to look to the Lord as your provider. You see, I'll tell you what, supposing we have a church of 30 people, 100 people, and everyone says we're going to be great men of God, I'm going to travel all over the world, but I want you and you to support me. But supposing everyone goes traveling all over the world, they're not all going to be able to support each other. So what we do is a much better way. Give, and it shall be given unto you, pressed down, shaken together, and overflowing. Who does the giving? Well, God does through other people. He blesses us through other things. Now, let's take the case of the fishermen, Peter, James, and John. Let's take them. Let's take the case of the rich young ruler. It's in Matthew 19. Here comes the rich young ruler, and Jesus looked to him, and he's trusting his money, just like loads of people do today. Even if they're Christians, they still trust their money. And Jesus looked into the heart of this rich young ruler in Matthew 19, and he says, one thing you lack, he said, give all your money to the poor. Now, if the rich young ruler had known Proverbs, he'd say, if you give to the poor, you lend to the Lord, right? And he would have got more money back than he started with. Of course he would. So he was giving him a fantastic offering. But unfortunately, the rich young ruler didn't know that. So he went away, and Jesus was a bit upset. So Jesus said, it's so difficult, how difficult it is for a rich man to enter the kingdom of heaven. He said, it's easier for a rich man, easier for a rich man to enter the kingdom of heaven than for a camel to go through the eye of a needle. And if you look in Matthew 19, it says the disciples were astonished.
Wow.
Peter looked round to the other 11 disciples. He said, if it's difficult for a rich man to go into heaven, who, out of us lot, can be saved? Now, why did he say that? Because they had prospered. What had really happened is that their fishing business in the Sea of Galilee had suddenly prospered. They were probably doing all right, but when Jesus called them into the ministry, suddenly God made sure that loads of fish swam into their nets, and every day they got huge catches. That's how it works.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
This is interesting. So then, I personally, I love what you said earlier. You said it's good to give much more towards an evangelism ministry. Well,
there are emphases that are important. Obviously, evangelism is important. The Great Commission in Matthew 28 says, "Go into all the world and preach the gospel to all men." Right? Now that is expensive. I mean, anybody who's involved with evangelism knows it's expensive. Yeah. But you don't do the evangelism. We spend a lot of time in maximum security in the Philippines in the prison, and there's nobody got any money. So there's no good asking for them for money because they need money. But we go there. We give them all things that they need, medical care and computers and laptops and goodness knows, all sorts of stuff we give them. And the ministries that support them, we help them. And that's what we should be doing, because that is evangelism. But it's also in Matthew 25, Jesus said, he said, when you do these things, you do it to me. And he outlined various things we should be doing. He said we should be looking after the poor, the needy, the sick, those in prisons, those in hospitals, the homeless, that's the orphans, right? And then there's the people who haven't got enough to eat, and people who haven't got enough to drink, and all the strangers. You know, we're supposed